Hey, good morning, Patriots. It's morning. It's a good morning. It's getting warm here in North Carolina. It's going to be another day above freezing. Thank God. For those in Minnesota, I'm sorry your life sucks being below freezing, but it is what it is. So, without further ado, I do want to talk and mention I'm wearing my Star Trek shirt this morning. The original series. It's the original Enterprise, not the new woke stuff, because our friend, the future ruler of Earth, Doomcock, Victor Victor von Doomcock, is talked about Bill Shatner maybe coming back to play Captain Kirk again. So that was good news, something unexpected. But anyway, that's why I'm wearing the shirt. But someone who is not going to be playing Captain Kirk, but may play a Klingon someday is Chris Cardani. Good morning, Chris.
I bet I could play Dr. Smith, though. Oh, you bubble-headed booby. Get out of my way, you nickel-plated nincompoop. Oh, the pain of it all, Will.
You know, I saw a picture in my feed of Dr. Smith and Bill Shatner and Penny from Lost in Space together in a picture from the 60s. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought you were talking about, not Doomcock, but I thought you were talking about this Star Trek president of the Earth, if you will. Stacy, the Kickback Abrams.
Yeah, she and Joy Reid should get together and do something like there's something called black holes. They could go research black holes.
Well.
I think they could go and be on the Starship Doomcock. I'm going to have to send him this. I'm going to have to send Doomcock this episode. I think he'll get a kick out of it. Anyway, this is the pitch, Chris. You can pretend you're a studio guy. So the pitch is this: we have two former politicians, one former politician, one personality. Give them a starship named Doomcock, and they could go research black holes.
Oh, this is horrible. I think they had something like that too. They actually had something like that on the UPN network with DJ Flex or something like that called Homeboys from Outer or Homeboys in Outer Space. By the way, with James Doohan. James Doohan was their boss.
Well, they would need a good boss like James Doohan, who, by the way, was a combat veteran.
Yes,
but I would not be James Doohan them at all.
Heyo, that's a heyo right there.
Heyo.
That's gotta hurt. I think that's mine. That's gotta hurt. There we go.
Yeah,
just a bit outside.
Good morning to all the Patriots here.
Now,
yeah,
I understand that Eric Swalwell was giving dating tips.
He was given. Well, he's been giving tips to somebody. Just saying, but I don't know if they were dating or not. But yeah, let's talk about Eric Swalwell. So, Nick Soros, who's quite the troll. I like him. He's been kicked out of the best joints in New York and DC because he gets these politicians. And for the record, Swalwell and I used to go at each other on X and Twitter in the old days because the guy is a anti-gun nut. Some would call him an anti-gun Nazi. That is Swalwell, not Nick. Nick's a good guy.
Right.
Anyway, so apparently Swalwell is out drinking with lobbyists, and he's not being shy about it. He's out doing like stuff. I mean, like, hanging out with them, having sushi. Well, maybe, I don't know. I wasn't there, but he had like all this session with all these businessmen, and he starts talking about liking tens, like he only sleeps with tens. He's tired of his wife.
Oh boy!
I think it'd be the other way around. I think his wife would be tired with him.
I think so. I mean, I'm not sure if he actually has enough. Let's just say enough tea to handle all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, speaking of tea in China, man, was Fang Fang a 10? Because I think she was a 10 on the scale of 1 to 100. Like she's a 10. Like
I don't know. I mean, let's put it this way. Keep in mind, you're talking about the left. The left is where, and we said this yesterday, the left is where MSNBC has rendered itself to the point where Jen Psaki is the hot babe of the entire lefty lineup there. Okay?
Man, That's sad.
Yes, that's sad. So considering that, Fang Fang should be a 10 under that standard, and she is kind of a babe, I would have to say.
I
I'm
don't know with that overbite.
does it
I
matter?
don't know. Well, I guess if you like certain things bitten, I guess it works pretty well. But
Right,
and he
but she's
probably does.
but consider the fact that Eric Swalwell's circle, it contains such hot babes as, what was it? That chick from Connecticut, the representative with the purple hair, and you have,
Oh,
yep, you have
Della Roca or something like that.
that's right. So the dating pool's not good for these people. And you have, you have, Stacey Abrams we talked about. You have,
Right.
Gretchen Whitmer, and of course, Kathy Hochul. It's not a very good selection over there. It's really, I mean, and a lot of the other ones are hitting for the other team, and they're not even helping that pool.
Yeah.
So think about it. So Fang Fang is probably a 10 in comparison. It's like the grading curve.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But anyway, but Nick Soros was hitting him on it. Not hitting him, but you know what I mean. There's a great thing out there. I don't know if you have it, but Nick is walking with a drunk, obviously drunk and really spazzed out Swalwell. What, by the way, with his Grizzly Adams growth, it's like peach fuzz that's been colored in. It's like almost kind of a reddish color, like rust. I don't know where it comes from, but anyway, so Swalwell was walking and being trolled in real time by Nick, and it's just apparent that Swalwell just doesn't care. I mean, Swalwell is Swalwell. No, Swalwell and Schiff. I have never been in the same room with either one of those men, but I get a sense that these people are literally like if you had a picture of Satan, they would be the testicles that Satan would be having. The left and right testicle of Satan.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, maybe there will come a time when Eric Swalwell will hit on Jasmine Crockett,
Ooh.
Jazzy from the block, who again
Yeah.
is wrong. I don't know what the mainstream media is trying to do by pushing this woman out in the forefront. She is embarrassing.
Oh, I know what they're trying to do.
Right, I know
It's
they're
okay.
going to make her the next presidential candidate. She's going to be the presidential candidate.
President of Earth.
Now, keep in mind, she puts on the street persona, but she was privileged. She is privileged. She makes a lot of money, and I believe she went to a private school. So let's just cut to the chase here and hear the wisdom of Jasmine Crockett before
Brilliant,
with her
utter
prediction as far as the
brilliance.
budget. Yes, she is so brilliant. But she does
Einstein has nothing on her.
but she is better looking than Fang Fang. So we'll give her that.
And Swalwell. She has less of a beard too. Did you notice she doesn't have really a beard?
Actually, I think Swalwell has more of a beard. Less of a beard than most of the women. That's a good point. Good point.
But we're in the minority. But so long as we stand strong and not one Democrat falters, let me tell you, there are going to be Republicans that don't want to vote for this, and they can't lose more than one vote. So long as we stand together and so long as we're here, and the Republicans, they're dysfunctional. They can't get this done by themselves.
Is this a preview to how Democrats will message leading up to 2026? Saying fuck off.
But
She made that prediction, and by the way, the budget passed. Only one Republican decided against the budget, which is fine. But
Which is
Crockett,
fine, but stupid, but okay. It's like, I don't know
but
who
it's
that was.
it's this attitude this woman has. She actually is trying to convince us that she's a street woman of the people that just happens to be in Congress. No, she's the privileged version of, let's just say, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's not genuine.
So I don't even know what she is because she's from Texas, right? I think she's a Texan,
Yes.
which is sad. And in her case, people normally say everything is bigger in Texas. Well, in her case, everything is stupider in Texas, and it's like, wow. And it's not even good trolling. I mean, I don't think this was going to be an issue. I thought the three big things: no taxation on tips, no taxation on Social Security, and I can't remember what the other. There's three things that they did in this bill, and these are all good things. These are all things that, most Americans want.
These are
right.
I mean, Democrats wanted up until Trump did it. In
Of
fact,
course.
wasn't that a secondary campaign promise by their hero or their anointed one at the time for at least a few minutes, Kamala Harris, who said, "Well,
Yeah.
it's such a great idea. I'm going to adopt it. No tax on tips." But every Democrat, every single Democrat, like Crockett said, stood firm and voted against it. So they voted
Yeah.
against no tax. Remember this. Remember this in 2026. The Democrats voted against no tax on Social Security. The Democrats voted against no tax on tips. And keep in mind, waiters and waitresses sometimes get stiffed by people. This new attitude amongst some people. Oh, I don't think we should be tipping anybody. The restaurant should be paying people more.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, of course, the left says one Republican did the right thing. Really? Is that right?
And what did they have on that? I have to.
Well, we're going to talk about that today. There's a reason Jimmy Comey's under investigation, but we'll open that door in a few minutes.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, let's go to this one. Here. You want to talk about Comey? How about those 100 intelligence officials that were in that, let's just say, perverted chat group? That
Transgender chat room. Yeah.
yes, they were. They had their. They were
Tulsi's going to
finally
fire
terminated.
them all.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were gone. They're gone. The security clearances are revoked. The thing is, though, about this, what makes it worse is they were doing this on our time and our dime, and the facilities paid for by U.S. taxpayers. That makes it even worse. Do what you want behind closed doors. We don't want to buy it. We don't want to spend money on it, and we shouldn't. Again, this is a lot. This is one of the things that the Democrats were trying to protect when they're telling you, Elon Musk is causing chaos. President Musk, Trump and Musk are taking a sledgehammer to things. Well, guess what? More governments are going to be doing this in the future. Liz Truss is starting something like that, a little bit of a watchdog group. And if the right person gets into office in a few years, then we're going to see a Doge in the UK. At least we hope so. We're going to talk to somebody about that here today.
And a Doge in UK would be good because they're going to have a British accent and hopefully have all their teeth too, which would be a plus. Just
Oh,
saying.
maybe because
Maybe.
they'll probably all look like Austin Powers, but that's not a big deal.
Oh, behave.
That third movie
That's
was
right.
not that good. But I'll get
That's
into
a
that.
man, baby.
Oh, this is great. We have
Which
some
one?
good
The third one was golden
gold member.
gold member. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
with
was
Beyonce,
okay.
by the
Yeah,
way.
it wasn't as good as the first two. So.
With Beyonce. By the way, why does everything that woman touches turn to crap? I'm sorry. She's a good dancer.
Yeah, I don't
She does
know.
have talent.
I don't know.
But I mean, her pop music is boring in my opinion. But again, I don't really like pop music past.
She
a
got
certain
paid a lot
era.
of money by Kamala for not even singing, which was kind of weird.
Well,
So, I don't know.
she got off easy with Lizzo because Lizzo just wanted to be there for the buffet.
Yeah.
But
And she got it. She
right.
got it.
Right, Beyonce had to be
So,
paid.
so I think it's really interesting. It's a version of purging. They all have these all-you-can-eat buffets at these things, like for Lizzo, and then they have to splurge on Ozempic right after. They got to plug themselves in and do the injections to.
Yeah, I wonder what cost more. Now that you think about it, was it Beyonce's straight pay or was it the extra buffet for Lizzo?
I don't know. I don't think they put a ring on it. If that's what you're asking, just saying. So
it's ring around the collar. That's what they put on that.
yeah. Well, ring around other parts of the bathrooms too, but that's a different story for another day. But I do want to get back to this whole thing regarding the budget. So my friend, I know him. He's a good guy. Tom Massey voted against the budget. Why? I don't know. Tom is usually a good, he was one of the guys I advised in Congress back in the old days. Is very, very conservative. And I don't know why he would have voted against it, because most of what is in there, I would think, are things that he is for, all these populist things. So, but to your point, he made it in. I mean, the budget made it in, 217 to 215. So it is good. So,
right.
Right.
It's a thin margin.
Sergio, I'm on air. Sergio, I'm on it. Hold
on. Those were great genes, Sergio Valente.
Sergio de la Penta. Like these guys never. It's like I'm always.
Now there's a guy there was a guy who was a lot of fun on your show. We should bring him in.
Oh yeah. I'll ask. Not right now.
Yeah, well, we did the hard. No, another time. We're on the air now, but he was great on the Hard Truth. If anybody had ever had the privilege of catching the Hard Truth, which was one of our more serious fairs, we We had pretty good. We should do Tony's takes again.
Yeah,
here
I'll
on
ask
the
him.
show. Yeah.
Well, that
There
would
we
be
go.
fun. I think the Patriots would like that. We should do that once a week. We should
Yeah,
do it as a feature once a week. And then I still want to do the Karnak thing too. I've got the hat out. I got my Karnak hat, which would be
Well, we have a
fun.
cunning plan for that, and we're gonna be pulling that out pretty soon too. We have a lot of good stuff there. We're gonna things will roll. That's what I will say, and certainly it won't be heads.
Well, something's going to roll. I don't know what it is, but speaking of rolling, let's get back to Congress. So let's summarize for the Patriots. We had oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention there was a primary last night in the little town of Dolton, and Super Mayor Tiffany Hinyard lost, and I mean lost. She got in the Democrat primary 11% of the vote. I think that's a lot.
Oh,
that
deserves a heyo. Heyo. That's a bad heyo for that one.
So I don't know if you all been tracking her, but she is like, even she makes Lori Lightfoot look good. I mean, it's like Lori Lightfoot is like,
oh, that's
like, how do you do that?
Yeah, that's the.
How do you do that? It's like,
oh my gosh.
Oh,
I mean, why did you do it?
Anyway, so and by the way, they're all Democrats in Dalton. There's no Republicans. This is all Democrat on Democrat hate, discontent, and derision. So she lost, and man, oh man, I don't know how what she's going to do. Maybe she could join the good ship Doomcock and go exploring black holes in the universe there.
Or better yet, maybe she could go advocate in Worcester, Massachusetts. You know what happened there last couple of weeks?
No, what happened in Worcester?
Well, as you know, they were trying to make the council was discussing making it a sanctuary city for trans people.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes, they were, and they had this big to-do over it, and a whole parade of let's just say a parade of we don't know what's they, thems, zers, and stuff like that were screeching about how unsafe we were in other places and how Trump is going to destroy them. Well, one came back trying to fool them under another disguise. If you want to take a watch of this one.
Hello, Council. Remember me from last week? Oh, you don't remember me from last week? Could it be because gender is a construct? I'm Anna, been a Worcester resident for 24 years. Tonight, I'm coming to you as Laddie LaRouge.
Magic marker mustache.
Otherwise known as
That's very magic.
Madam Laddie. When I'm in drag, I use he, they pronouns. And I am a proud and loud queer artist in the city. I am a local burlesque and drag performer, producer, educator.
That must be quite the show.
Yeah.
And I'd like to ask the council and Mayor Petty why you've ghosted us, left us on red, have not responded to our emails asking for a formal apology.
I think you've figured this one out, lady or man or whatever you are, because you're annoying. The problem is, I'm a to each his own person, but stop shoving it in our face and stop being annoying about it.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Right.
Go away. I mean, this is insane. So. Look, I could care less. Let's be clear. I've talked about this before, and I think everybody's we're all friends here. I don't care who you sleep with. Nobody does.
Right.
Just go. Don't be putting your transgender fracas. I don't know what you want to call it in my face. I just don't care. I don't want to hear about it. I don't care if you like magic markers on the face while you're wearing pantyhose, doing the cha-cha in the middle of a bathtub. I don't care. Go do it.
Next time one of them tries to shove it in my face, I'm going to turn it back at them and tell them about the things I like. Boy, will they be disgusted and turn away. That's a warning to everybody right there. If you're going to shove it in mine, I'm going to shove it in yours. But we're going to shove in your face two very wonderful guests, two of our favorite.
That's right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Don from England, and cousin Vinny from New Jersey, which is also a foreign country.
So the Atlantic.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
So I don't know what. Let's ask the Patriots. Which is more foreign, England or New Jersey?
We do have two things you can just take back and hide. Jersey, you can take back and hide the Jersey Shore kids, who are probably like 70 right now. And Dawn,
oh my God,
Con back and just get rid of him.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him anymore.
Well, Don, thanks for being here from the UK. I miss being in the UK. I was actually over a few years ago at Warwick University in Coventry, which is a cool place. So
Okay, sorry,
and
say that.
I was in
university name
Coventry,
Coventry.
in the UK.
again. No,
Coventry.
the name. No,
Yeah,
no, no.
it's Warwick.
No. The
Uh-oh.
name of the university. Come on, I want to hear the way you say it.
Warwick.
We call it Warwick.
Oh,
Warwick.
so I'm mispronouncing it. I'm using my New Jersey accent to butcher the English language.
No, oucho. Oh, by the way, you mentioned Coventry, and I cannot let a Coventry mention go by without saying one of my favorite bands of all time was from there. King, Miss Paul King. He was great. We need him back in the studio. That's what I say, Don.
Paul King, right? Yes. Why not?
Right.
Can I just go back, because obviously I was in the studio back room while you were chatting about sexual preference earlier. Let's call it that.
Oh,
We're in trouble for this one, are we?
we're in trouble with this one.
Well, I actually, one of the things, I mean, while you were commenting on, the moustache or the whatever, all of that sort of stuff, that none of that bothers me particularly. But what does bother me, that's all fine. Anybody who wants to dress or do whatever, I mean, I've got lipstick on, I happen to have painted it in the right place. That's the only difference. So what fascinates me though is, when you were talking about ramming it down people's throats, for want of a better phrase, admittedly, but that's more or less what you're saying. But what gets me is, for example, I wouldn't walk into a room and scream, "Hello, darlings, I'm straight."
That's
No,
true.
let's do that. We should do that more often. As well. That would be hilarious.
We should.
That's right.
Maybe when we celebrate straightness, we celebrate it not for the day of our anniversary or something, but like Pride as well. Which, I mean, I love all the Pride festivals, but let's all do it for a month.
Yeah, Don, I'm with you. And by the way, Don is a mover and shaker in the British music industry, and we're really look. I'm honored to have you here, Don. We follow each other at Facebook. We interact, and I appreciate the fact that she's just one of us, one of the folks. By the way, for the record, when I go to the Catholic Church, I do walk in and say, "Hey, everybody, I'm straight. I'm straight." So
I think they know. I'm pretty sure they know.
I should start that too. Yay!
No, I can't.
I
Yeah.
love gay
They
people.
already know I'm straight.
Woo!
So, well, and of course we got Vinny. Vinny, how are things in New Jersey today? You haven't had to bury any bodies yet, have you?
Oh no, but it's a little chaotic here because of the governor and everything he's doing, and it's okay. I mean, it's Jersey's very democratic. There's no really Republicans here, and it's like talking to a wall and waiting for an answer. It's not going to come back.
Yeah,
It's not going to come back.
it's weird. So I got to tell you, this is weird, and I don't know what to make of it. So the New Jersey Homeland. I'm a member of law enforcement in Virginia. I work for Sheriff Dan Decatur as his Homeland Security. So believe it or not, your own New Jersey Homeland Security folks have asked me to come back up. They're basically redoing a monthly meeting up between the National Guard, Homeland Security, and NYPD up in Monmouth. I'm going to be the first guest speaker in May when they start it up again. Isn't that weird? I mean, that's.
Oh, let me know.
Well,
let me know. I'll come and see you.
No, well, yeah, I'll come see you, but I got it's a law enforcement event. So it's really strange that, and I was talking to him. It's like, oh no, we don't care about your politics. We just like the fact that you tell the truth, and you're going to give us a good overview. So it's like, oh,
That's
okay.
good.
Anyway, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, because Governor Murphy's been doing a pretty good job trying to stop congestion pricing too.
You look like him.
She's trying to stop this one from instilling keeping that congestion pricing thing going. This is our governor, by the way, John, this is Governor Kathy Hochul, who instilled a congestion pricing plan in New York. And since you're from Britain, you know about the London one. It's been horrible. I've been hearing a lot of things about
tell
this.
us, Don.
Tell
us about the congestion pricing in London, because I love London, but man.
Well, actually, funnily enough, I was just talking about this with a friend of mine who's a very, very well-known record producer who, in fact, discovered Sweet back in the day, Phil Wainman, who lives in Hampstead in London. And we were talking about this today. And he said he's absolutely sick of it. He said whenever he drives into London, no matter what, he comes home and he gets a fine for something. And it'll be the congestion charge. It's actually very difficult as well if you live outside of London. It's not just London now, by the way. It's virtually every city in the UK. And we were chatting about it, and it's very much just a way of raising funds. It's just a way of taxing people and raising money. Our car taxes, for example, are utterly outrageous as well now. The larger the vehicle, the higher the car tax, because there is such pressure on people to buy electric cars. But we don't have the infrastructure to support.
We don't either. Yeah. It's insane.
No, we don't.
And by the way, Don, do they understand that if you do that, it's going to put an increase of 20 to 30% on the power grid? Have they figured out how they're going to make up and find all that extra power, since they don't want to be doing green energy? Green energy cannot produce 20 to 30% capacity above what it's already doing. So I just don't think they think through this stuff, because California is going to try to do the same thing. It was insane.
If you listen closely to the news that goes on here in the UK, you'll often find that in the depths of winter, for example, if everybody puts their kettle on at the same time, we're a small but very congested island, really. And if everybody puts their kettle on at the same time first thing in the morning, along with all the other bits and pieces of electricity that they use, you often get outages across the country. If we get storms, we have outages for days on end and things. So
we get that in Jersey.
Yeah, you can get that here too. Here's the other
in
thing,
Jersey. It goes out like crazy.
You know what you should do? Every time that the PM or the mayor of London, the PM of Britain, opens their mouth about more green garbage, everybody in Britain should flush their toilets at the same time, and cause a problem there. There we go.
No. Well, speaking of green garbage, so Keir Starmer is visiting here. Did you know that?
Oh, that's right.
Speaking of, Keir Starmer is here and visiting Washington this week. So, is it true, Don, that he's thought about, as a cost-cutting measure, offering England back to the Vikings? Is that true? Is that true? He's thought about that?
No, I think you're confusing him with Trump trying to buy a country that's not for sale.
No! Not like.
Well, I think Trump should buy Yorkshire and let you keep the pudding, right? We could buy the town and keep the pudding, right? Yorkshire pudding, get it?
Well, let's put it this way.
Very funny. No.
So Keir Starmer is coming to the U.S., as you say, right here. Here's his favorite outfit. After his win, after his upper class Twit of the Year victory, he's a 5-year straight winner, by the way. As a matter of fact, he's won for 5 years straight, didn't he? The upper class Twit of the Year.
Oh my God!
So, but Don, on that note, Keir Starmer is here. He's actually pleading for President Trump to change his stance on Ukraine. It's not going to happen. I don't know why people come over here and think, "Oh, I'm going to sit down and convince Trump." Like, I don't know.
Zelensky is coming to the United States. Zelensky's coming to the United States to sign the deal with Trump for all the minerals and this and that.
Yeah,
but you notice that everybody's coming to him. Everybody's coming to President Trump. Trump is not going nowhere. They're coming to him, and that shows a lot in a person. How much power does he have? And I'm glad he's my president. That's for sure.
If you like or hate him, if you respect or don't, he basically is very clear on what he wants and what he's going to do. So I think that's why people do, even if I know a lot of people who disagree with him. It's like, well, at least he's consistent in what he's doing. So I guess that's true.
I mean, like last night, I couldn't believe it that 215 Democrats voted against the bill not for people not to have to pay taxes on Social Security, on taxes on tips, taxes on overtime. Why would you want to pay taxes? Don't you want a better life?
Yeah. So speaking of that, so John, Yeah, as Vinny says, this is interesting. So yesterday, and it looks like it'll get to the Senate. Looks like it'll pass.
No, it passed.
Trump-
217.
Yeah, but that's the House.
No,
That's
that's
the Senate.
that's the
That's
House.
the Senate.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting that you talked about taxation and the city taxes. Trump is going to walk back 3 key taxes. First, no taxes on overtime, which is huge. That affects everybody in the United States. That's a big deal. No taxes on tips. That means that workers in factories, I mean, not factories, in restaurants, some restaurants are like factories, just saying, but they don't. And then, of course, I'm a senior citizen. I just turned 62 last year. And so I get Social Security, and I don't have to pay tax on it now. So do you think you guys need someone like that, or a Doge person going around looking at all the waste within your taxation system over there?
Yeah.
Sorry, are you talking to me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
Don. Yeah.
Yes.
to you.
Right,
Yes,
I'm
that's
so
for you.
sorry. I hadn't realised at that point. No, it's just that there were a few points earlier that kind of threw me.
We go around a lot. We jump around a lot.
Yeah.
Firstly, no, firstly, you know, I don't understand why you're I mean, you know, just a few minutes ago you were sort of picking on the Prime Minister of the UK, but ultimately he won via a democratic vote. That's the
Oh
end.
yeah, no, I know.
No, he won
Yeah.
by default. He won by default because of the Conservatives have failed that country, and the more people voted for the Reform Party, but not enough of them. So the left took the far left took over. This is kind of what happened in 1992 when a lot of people voted for Ross Perot instead of George H.W. Bush, and then all of a sudden Bill Clinton sneaks in with 42% of the vote.
But Chris, we don't have a far left here in this government. This particular government is not what we would call in this country far left. You know, to be on a personal note, I feel the Prime Minister is particularly lackluster. There's no doubt about that, and I'm really sorry to have to say that because.
No, I called him the most boring man in British politics yesterday on air. So
wait, Gordon Brown was forgotten?
Well, actually, he was.
Sorry, Don.
There's a race.
But there are, you know, and you're saying that everybody goes to Trump to visit Trump. Well, to be fair, Trump has only recently become the president, and that is usually the de rigueur thing. That's what's done. Each country will go and pay their respects to the new president of the US or wherever it happens to be. Right now, currently, there is a very, very difficult time internationally. And there is a feeling, and you know, you've invited me here to talk about how we feel in this part of the world.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And I'm not going to be, you know, kowtowing to how you might hope I might feel or whatever. I'm going to say
the honest,
that's right. We want your real thoughts. Yeah,
we want the truth.
We don't want kowtowers on this show.
Well, you know, who knows what the truth is these days? Everything I look at, it seems to be so manufactured that we've got no idea anymore what the truth is. But the thing is that you live a very long way away from where the problems are in Europe, physically.
Agreed. We agree.
Yes, we definitely agree with that.
And for us in Europe and part of Europe, even though we are an island off Europe, you know, we're not in amongst the main hub of all the land areas, but at the same time, we have. In real terms, it wasn't that long ago that there was a world war that affected the country here and all of the countries across Europe horrendously, absolutely horrifically. And now we're in a stage, though, where it is highly possible. You know, it wasn't that long ago in real terms, all within our lifetimes, that the Berlin Wall came down, and that was up for donkey's years. All these sorts of things have changed, you know, during our lifetimes really quite quickly. But now we're in a position again where we could end up with all of Europe at war. We've got, you know, different factions of different governments in different countries funding, whether it's Ukraine, whether it's helping Russia, whatever they're doing. And from our perspective, it's really concerning that Trump, from what we read between the lines, wants to break up NATO doesn't have any regard for them.
That's a good.
Okay,
Oh, so,
well-
yeah, let me address that.
This is-
I'll
Yeah,
address
hang
it.
on,
me too.
I'd like
Let's
that,
let
okay?
Tony address that one.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
So we're concerned about that element, but then there's also the part of this that is teaming up, or so say teaming up with Russia. And I think that if, you know, ultimately, and this is from, again, my perspective, there are a couple of things that Trump is good at. And one of those is deals. He is a deal maker. He doesn't want to listen to the detail. He's good at the deal making. He'll go to people like you, Tony, and everybody else for the detail.
Right.
But I think he's ultimately a very
Yeah.
good deal maker. And I also think that he doesn't mind, it's a phrase in the UK, kissing arse in order to get the deal that he wants. And right now, I hope that he's not genuinely buddying up closey with Russia as such, because Russia are not great for the rest of Europe. Pretty scary.
So yeah, let
Look
me.
at who Putin is originally.
Yeah. So I think those are all great concerns, and I appreciate the fact you've come and kind of laid out what you all think. So your first point, I couldn't agree more. Like, you're there, we're not, which is even more reason
Yeah.
for the British and the EU to take more of a, like, yeah, you tell us, you go do what you want. We're out. And I think that's part of the attitude. We won the Cold War, and then it's like, hey, next thing you know, you got Kosovo, you got the Balkan issue that we had to jump back into.
Right.
There's issues now with Ukraine. We had to come back for that. So we don't want to come back. But we feel, Don, that we keep getting pulled back in. And so it's like, okay, here we go again. So that's my point. And I deployed during the Cold War. I was a lieutenant in 1985, and I deployed to Reforger. I was undercover in Germany chasing terrorists funded by Russia. The RAF and Sport Group Hauptmann, those were all terrorist groups funded by Russia to kill us. So just saying, I fought these guys in the 80s. So I feel your pain. I don't think the Russians are good guys. With that said,
there we go.
Yeah, I felt a lot of pain.
It's not pain per se, but it is real concern, genuine concern.
Yeah, I get it.
But can we talk about the deal bit as well, though? Because
Sure.
Well, first I want to step back here, because as far as NATO and breaking up NATO, nobody really said that, except for the fact that NATO has always relied on us to pay for them. We were always paying their way.
We pay 70%
Yeah, they need to pay their 2% GDP. And the UN was the same way for a long time too. We cover almost everything.
So Don, well, let me hit that. So JD Vance addressed why we may drop out of NATO. And now I know what you're saying, because JD Vance came over there and said, we don't share values. And honestly, we don't. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of the Clash. Do you think that they could make Rock the Casbah today and get away with that without being in trouble with the British public?
Yeah, I do, but it depends on which radio stations. But the BBC weren't happy with it the first time around. But
of course not. And keep in mind, this is also the depiction of the depiction of the holy people too. They probably wouldn't like that now. This is something that they're afraid of, and especially with the current leadership in Britain. We have a censorship issue here, but Britain, Germany, and a lot of EU nations, it seems a hell of a lot worse, and it's been perpetrated by state-run media. Yeah,
so that's what Vance was saying. It's like, look, to Chris's point, we pay the freight for NATO. You guys always look to us to help bail NATO, Europe out, not you guys. I mean, Ukraine is not directly your problem. That's although MI6 has had a big hand in it, just saying. But so JD Vance's position, and that's why we elected Trump, is like, we're tired of paying the freight. We get over there, we get involved. World War I, World War II, the Berlin airlift, the Cold War. We're always like, we got a big pond between you guys and us,
right?
And yet somehow we're always being asked to come over and help out. So that's what I think JD Vance is saying, is like, look, this was fine when we shared values of free speech, that people in Germany weren't being raided because they reposted an X tweet that went against the German government's desires. We didn't have any issues with the British government as long as they let their people have speech. So that's what Vance is saying. It's like, okay, why are we paying all the freight if you guys don't share our values. That's what he said. And I think it freaked people out. And it clearly had an effect
Certainly
on you guys.
freaked the chairman out.
So that's what's going on. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure. But I mean, I think there are values that we do share, but there are values obviously that we don't share or that we're very different about as nations. But at the same time, you know, I've got two sons who were so excited, and I couldn't understand why, because I like to know details about stuff, and they were so excited when Trump won, and I said, okay, so tell me your excitement. What is it? Because, you know, we live over here on this island here. My boys live here as well. And not in my home, obviously. They're independent and doing their own thing. But they were both so excited. And I wanted to know, well, what is it that excites you about him? And they both said, because he is an agitator. He's not scared to shake things up. And I think that's the side of things that does make you feel as though, well, maybe there is some hope here. I hope so, because what I don't want to see are lots of wars and then, you know, everybody make a profit out of warring factions because they get the deals to rebuild cities or the deals to arm them. Or
that's what. And that's the thing. So this is where
Trump wants peace.
Yeah. Well, that's what as Vinny exactly. So, Don, did you see the movie Threads when you were a kid?
I can't remember. What was it about?
About England being destroyed by a nuclear war, prompted by the Russians.
Was it an animated film?
No. It was an actual live action. It was done about this. We had a movie called The Day After, and it freaked out Ronald Reagan. As a matter of fact, Reagan saw the movie and said, "We need to stop this nonsense," because basically Threads was the British version of the Day After. The Day After starred Jason Robards, a very highly regarded actor here, and basically told the story of a little town in Kansas that's just outside Threads. It's a movie about nuclear war and what happens. It actually is it goes through and what would happen if a nuclear attack was anticipated. And I get it, because people were freaked out by Threads. And I think is that done by BBC? Was that done by BBC, Chris? Is that what that said or not?
I will have to find out. Yeah, that's, let's see.
Anyway, my point being,
check on that.
I don't know.
My point being is that this is about 83, 84 when these movies came out, and people recognize the danger of global thermonuclear war. There's part of it. So for those who have not seen these movies, I think it's a good reminder of what nuclear war could do. And by the way, it's worse. Whatever you see in these things, it's worse. And these things, Don, stimulated Reagan to seek an end to the constant escalation of bellicose language and threats between both sides. So what Trump is trying to do, and I know this is a bit difficult to comprehend, he's trying to basically do what Reagan did. Reagan was able to kind of get people's attention and go and say, look, we are now on a slippery slope back to nuclear war. And we were. Remember, I get your fear of Russia. They are a nuclear power. And oh, by the way, they got hypersonics that can make London into a toll-free zone because there's nothing there. So, you know, anyway, go ahead, Don.
I was just going to say, it's not so much, it's not a fear as such. It's a lack of respect for them. You know, if you go back and remember where Putin came from, Putin is a thug, an absolute.
He is. I've said this.
Absolutely, yeah. He's former KGB.
He absolutely former head of KGB, secret police, that whole movement. And he came up from a very young man through that. He's had plenty of plastic surgery to keep himself looking young, but you know, he is knocking on a bit now. But he is ultimately. He's a street fighter. He's a gangster.
Yeah.
And,
all right.
Yeah.
And I sort of think as well that in a way that maybe Trump can understand him from that perspective as well. I don't know, because there's that sort of that element of, right, let's just do a deal. And they have an unusual respect for each other, it would appear, but I don't quite get it. I'd like to understand more about it.
Well,
you were talking about Threads. Have you been watching or have you seen the new Netflix documentary
Oh,
series.
Zero? Is it called Zero? The new Netflix thing? Oh.
No, it's Turning Point. It's extraordinarily
No, I
good,
haven't
but
seen
oh
that.
my
No,
oh,
same here.
honestly, I would urge you all to see it. It's new, but it really it makes you feel the immensity of the nuclear bomb, the first one, then the following one, and so on.
Interesting.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
interesting.
Well, I've
Turning Point,
worked on
nuclear.
it.
Look at.
I'll look that up. That's good. But to that point, now back on it. So, Vinny, you understand the mafia. Just saying. So, I don't know if you knew this. Putin, to Don's point, has murdered reporters in elevators in Moscow, and I'm not joking. I mean, he has literally murdered people by his
Yes.
own hand. So,
Yes,
I
across
get it.
borders, by the way, across borders.
Well, that's sometimes it's crazy. I mean, if that's the life you live, that's the life you have to follow. That's the way a lot of people have been brought up. You know, like they say, you live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword.
Yeah.
That's the bottom
By
line.
the way, yeah, and we decided yesterday, Vinny, it shouldn't be take the cannoli and leave the gun. It's like take both. No, take the gun and the cannoli, right? That's the answer. That's the right answer.
Well, you know what?
Take both.
Oh,
We figured it out yesterday. I was like, no, take both.
You do know that Vladimir Putin had those kind of fake presidential campaigns where he ran for president and won by this astronomical amount. His Putin's campaign slogan was, "It's an '88 Magnum. It shoots through schools."
Oh my!
Classic mafia movie by
but,
the
but
way.
but I'm very glad that Trump is our president, and he just wants peace with everybody, even with Russia, Ukraine. I mean, millions of people, kids are dying, men and women are dying in Ukraine and in Russia, all over the place. For what? To me, I think it's a big money laundering thing.
Yeah.
It's just a way to
See,
take
that's the
money
thing.
and throw it all over the place, and the hell with the people. Who cares about them?
Zelensky said that they're missing $100 billion. So I think we're going to
Well, he
find that out.
says that too. He says that. So he also know he has a heavy coke habit. So who knows?
Yeah. So I have a question. For just like the Pentagon when they said they can't find $12 trillion. How did the plane hit that thing at that ground level? To me, I mean, there's a video going around. I don't know if it's true or not, but it looks like a missile running across the floor and hits the thing.
I had
if it was a plane, there was no plane.
I don't know.
Plane parts nowhere.
I know. I had 5 friends there that day and said there was an airplane. So, as a matter of fact, one of them was on that road. If you look at the road, she was sitting. She was a bag lady, not the homeless. She used to move back in the old days. You know, I'm a retired spy. We would have couriers move physically around. They look completely inconspicuous. They would move highly classified information around the city, and she was on the road when one of the planes hit. So I and then my friend Don Rumsfeld was out helping people after. So I don't know. I tend to believe it. But we should have well, we got more coming out. So for you all, the Patriots to know, Kurt Weldon, Congressman Weldon, who I was a whistleblower with, we're going to have more on 9/11. As soon as we can get authorization to talk about some of this stuff and get it declassified,
okay,
right?
More is coming. More is coming, and a lot more.
There'll be a lot we're going to be talking about.
You think the Jim Comey thing is a revelation? Wait till what we have to say regarding 9/11. It's.
I mean, I was there. I was there for the cleanup, and what I saw, people will never believe what I saw. Never.
Yeah. Well, never. We'll have a separate show on that. But back to the Ukraine thing. So, Don, I understand. I think a lot of people would understand the British perspective, and you guys have been our longest, more enduring ally. I mean, for goodness sake, I mean, we have been together thick and thin. The British. I mean, a lot of our Eastern Seaboard nations are, like I live here in North Carolina. North Carolina is named after Carolina. We are very close as nations, but at this point, I think everybody's concerned about the fact, as Vinny said, we have a trench warfare, literally World War I style trench warfare that's gone on for 3 years. And to your kids, I think maybe said it's like Trump's going to disrupt it. It's going to
Well-
it's got to be different. It's got to be changed, and I think that's what drives a lot of people nuts. So, do you think that's part of it?
Keep in
But
mind, a lot of people are making money off of this too. I just want to get into this too because a little while back during the campaign, Robert F. Kennedy said in a speech that he spoke with former Senate Majority Leader at the time, Mitch McConnell, who he was discussing the Ukraine war. He says, "Why are we spending all this money?" He goes, "Well, don't forget that all the money goes to our defense sector. It goes back to American mercenaries,
Military,
it goes back to
industrial,
American trainers."
congressional
Yeah.
complex, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So that
Eisenhower
bas-
warned us about that.
Right, and he actually said that. He said he said it to RFK. RFK revealed it, and this is another reason why some factions of each of our governments on the
Yeah.
EU side and our side want to keep this war going because it's not really next to us. It's a proxy war
Yeah, it's
against
perfect.
Russia, and it makes money.
But Don, by the way, I mentioned and I badly used the word Warwick, Warwick University.
Warwick.
So the
Warwick.
last time I was there, do you know why I was there last time? It was in
No.
2016. It was 2016, and I was there as part of the political science and economics department to speak with Susan Evans. I don't know if you remember Susan Evans, the spokesman for Brexit. Susan Evans and I were there for a question time. Now, the British have this great thing called question time where they bring in politicians and ask them questions. So Susan Evans
the television show.
What's that?
Do you mean the BBC television show, Question Time?
No. It was question time at Warwick. We were on stage.
Oh, I see. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they had this big old auditorium full of kids, and you guys had just had Brexit. This was August of 2016, and I said to your kids' point, we are going to see our own Brexit in the form of Donald Trump in November. I got booed by the students of Warwick for saying that, and I was simply saying he's going. We are ready for a disruption. So Don, do you think that's part of the deal? Is that people are just afraid of the disruption? Because I think your kids are right.
I think that we see politics very, very differently in the UK. So because somebody is, let's say, a superstar in some way or another, or they've been on television lots of times or whatever, we don't necessarily hold them in this high regard and think that they've got some magic sparkle about them. And again, this is just my perception of things.
Right.
And that's not how we see them. We see our politicians as extraordinarily separate from actors, actresses, stars, all this sort of a very, very different breed. So we used to have a lot of political, what we'd call beasts that had real personalities, but things have changed. The tone of a lot of things has come down a little, but ultimately even our political beasts were really very, very straight and straightforward individuals. Actually, whether or not they were all straight, I've no idea, but they were very straightforward individuals. But in the US, it's almost, and this is the feel that we get here, somebody who's a great big star like Donald Trump, everybody loves him. And even the people that will not gain from him being in charge, for example, earlier you were talking about taxes. Vinny, you said, why would anybody want to pay tax? Well, I'll explain why. From our perspective, we pay tax to provide a safety net, which is funded by our taxes. So, for example, if people are poor or what, I mean, it's badly abused, unfortunately, but if people are poor or they lose their jobs or they are sick and they need hospital or whatever, they are looked after by the state, which is funded by our taxes. I mean, now it's gone a bit over the top because, you know, we could move on to immigration with all of that. But going back as well, there was, that was it. Going back to the warfare side of things as well that you were just talking about, and Chris, you were talking about, you know, profits being made and possibly that being something that would make people kind of want to prolong the war. Well, okay, so Tony, here's something that I just feel, if you've got in your government there, you've got the likes of somebody who desperately needs the minerals for all of his businesses, Musk, being minerals, rare, hard to find minerals, and you've got a country at war that needs help to fund the stopping of that war, and is now being told in the deal from Trump, well, actually, for us to help you here and stop all this war, we want 50% of your minerals.
Well, hold on. I got to stop you there because a lot of this also stems from the fact that the BRICS countries, which are trying to supplant the US dollar with their own currency, will very soon have control of 72% of the world's rare earth
Yeah.
resources, which is another issue altogether. And with the Biden administrations and all these state governments trying to push this green energy thing and make people drive electric cars on a regular, and same with Britain, by the way, trying to force people to buy and drive electric cars,
Yeah,
which
that's
are
big.
another situation.
I
These rare earths are necessary for that.
I
But-
understand that, but they shouldn't be pushing people to drive electric cars.
I
'cause quite
agree.
Oh, I
frankly,
agree. Well,
Yeah,
so
agreed.
Jeremy of
Well, Trump even said that you can buy
yeah.
whatever car you want.
So
Yeah.
we're going to try to. We should get Jeremy on the show, right, Chris? Jeremy,
We'd like Jeremy here.
from
The quartering.
huh?
The quartering.
No,
right?
no,
That Jeremy?
no, British Jeremy, not that Jeremy, not a guy
Ah,
that he,
darn.
Jeremy from the Grand Tour.
Yes.
Jeremy from British
Clarkson,
Jeremy.
Clarkson.
Jerry Clark, who's got his own farm, Clarkson's farm. Yeah, Jeremy would agree with you because he thinks that electric cars are a scam. But and we'll talk about that.
Can I
Don,
bring
we're
that
gonna
up?
we should. I want to talk about that. And Chris, reach out, see if we can get Jeremy. But I want to address the tax issue real quick because I think you brought it up, and I want to hit that. So I won my race. I'm now a county commissioner.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. So my point being, I sat in a meeting last night because my job now is to oversee. I'm on I was just sworn into another committee to oversee the very thing you're talking about. I'm on the regional health board. I oversee all the money coming from the government that goes out to all the people who are in need of it. So that's my job. Right now we've got like a $20 million, which I guess is about I guess it would be 18 million pounds. So
something like that, yeah.
18, something like that. But it's a lot of money. And so our job is to manage the disposition of all this money. And let me tell you a little secret, Don. You know where most of that money goes instead of to the people? It goes to the process of getting it to the people.
That's terrible.
So much bureaucracy. That's what I'm saying.
Fiscal pushers in the middleman. Yes.
I believe we should be helping people. I wouldn't have run for office and be part of this process of trying to manage it. My issue is, why do we have so much fat that's between the people who need the help and the people who have to manage it? I'm not against. Yeah, that's the issue that we're facing right now. So go ahead.
Also, it's just like when you look at your electric bill. The electric bill is only your water bill. It's only $60. The taxes, the service, it's over another $80. But just for that, my water bill is only $60, but I'm paying $140
Yep. And
for the water to come to my house.
Yeah.
And of course,
So I think that's why a lot of us are concerned about taxes. So, but I understand your need. I understand that taxes are not evil. It's just people who manage the taxation are evil.
And the misuse of the money. The misuse of the
I'm
money,
part of the
too, by
system.
way. Look, the misuse of
is-
the money too. Your tax money in Britain is being, and so is ours, being subject to the, and we could do a whole show on immigration, but the allowance of this,
I'm all for
these devastating immigration policies has been very expensive to the taxpayer. Your taxpayers are paying for people knocking on somebody's door and taking them to jail or fining them simply for commenting on the internet about something the government doesn't
I
like.
mean, there are situations like that.
They're doing that in Germany.
Yes,
They're doing that in Germany.
they've
Well,
done that before.
they're doing it in lots of places. I think, though, everybody has been a little bit too concerned about contradicting minorities, let's just say, and it's become a political hot football, and that isn't great because it means people find it very difficult to talk about it. But in reality, I can tell you that, where I live here, things have changed quite drastically. So, for example, lockdown was one of the beginnings of this, or just before lockdown, where lockdown made lots of hotels need help. They reached out to the government for this help. The government, unfortunately, started filling the hotels with immigrants, illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
Immigrants who, now I'm not racist at all. I speak several languages, including Farsi, which is Persian, Iranian. And I've learned all these languages throughout my life. I have no qualms about where anybody comes from or what religion they are or anything like that. But when you have so many people come to smaller villages, take up entire hotels, they don't learn your language, they don't speak your language, they then go in coachloads to a supermarket or whatever, you come across them, they tut at you because your hair is on show, or you know, I mean, or you might have a bit of cleavage at, well, I don't actually usually, but that might be the case. So to come, I just feel that anybody who comes to another person's country must always at least respect that country's values and so on.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, so
I agree.
if I go to the Middle East, I expect to behave in a way that they are happy with, and to be upset with me if I behaved in a way they weren't happy with. Unfortunately, in the UK, we've been so kind and calm and gone along with everything that we've now got to a stage where it's very, very expensive for us. And the moment somebody does come here and they're illegally here, instead of being able to say, right, off you go, they actually can have legal aid now. I think a lot of this is to do with access online. You can get all the information online. So you've got your mobile phone over in wherever you're at, whatever country you're in. You can look it up and you discover, oh, look, you get 40 quid a week each if you get here. You get housing, you get a legal aid if they want to argue with you about anything. Whereas British people can't afford to even see a solicitor when they need a lawyer. It's
I know. So this may surprise you, but one of my friends who is fully integrated, as a matter of fact, their group represents the values of England, is actually the Association of British Muslims, the oldest Islamic organization in England. My friend Mohammed Abbasi, Mohammed, shout out. Mohammed lives up in Liverpool, and he's fighting constantly this battle of trying to explain exactly what you just said. If you come to England, you must be English, right? I mean, I've met members of parliament that they support. They have Islamic, they have Muslim members. I've actually been there to parliament, met with them. So it's not immigration. It's not immigrants.
No.
It's the fact that we have a system that allows for bad behavior to be amplified by unlimited funding. Is that accurate?
I think it's not even necessarily unlimited funding, because the you know, we're not a country that's flush with heaps of money, and we are a country though that for whatever reason we are still sending so much money in foreign aid to India, to China, to countries that really don't need that funding from us, but our own people do need it. We have food banks in this country. What on earth is going on where we need to, you know, we have children that are hungry at school?
Well, clearly,
that's like the United States. They're giving money out to everybody except the American people.
I was in New York just last week. In fact, I got back last week, and then. And
I'm sorry I missed you. Next time, give me some heads up. I'll try to come up.
Me too. Yeah, I missed you too. Sorry.
Let us know.
Okay, well, it would be lovely actually to meet up, and I will let you know the next time I go. It'd be fantastic fun, I'm sure. Yeah.
Do a live show. There we go.
Yes. So, but you were talking about, mind you, maybe we could do a whole other program on vehicles and things like that. But you know, one of the things with
Jeremy Clarkson on.
With Jeremy, absolutely. Well, let's get Jeremy on. That would be terrific. But you know, you're talking about electric cars, and people are being motivated now financially to get an electric car in the UK. But have you seen the price of them?
Yeah.
Expensive. Expensive.
The idea is to price people out of the market, and this way, others will be forced to take mass transit, and these other people can lie and say, "Look at all the smooth roads. Look at everything." When they they hurt the middle class and are kind of forcing them
Yeah.
or keeping them away from freedom. This is how you build your 15-minute cities, by the way. Look, you
Yeah.
own
And
nothing, you'll like it.
And in
Well-
New Jersey now, if you buy an electric car, they're charging you an extra $250 on your insurance a year and $10 every year additional. So it goes from 250, 260, every year it goes up. If you buy an electric car, because they're losing money. They said they're losing money because nobody's buying gas. So it doesn't make sense.
True. Yeah, but Vinny, you lose taxation on gas. So yeah. So did we lose Don? So anyway, I was going to say to Don, I think, look, there's a lot of things we agree on. I think that the issue is how do we get there? I think what she's saying is the path they would take. There she is.
Sorry.
Hey Don. So no, I think so. I think
we thought you got a knock on your door.
to summarize, Keir Stalmer's outside. He wants to talk to you.
Yeah, oh my God.
No, I think
Get out.
and to summarize our conversation, I think we agree on a lot of the same issues. We just disagree on the path and how to get there. Is that
Exactly.
accurate? Maybe.
Oh, I think so, and I think
Yeah.
I started to say something about about how many immigrants, for example, have been coming into the country. But people talk about the people on boats and things like that. That is just a small fraction. That's a small element. You can't get the numbers in that you can in other ways. And unfortunately, everybody's busy blaming a virtually new government for this. And it's not this government. It's consecutive governments that have come along. So
We've had the same issue.
Exactly.
Same issues. Multiple governments doing the same thing, never making changes. So
well, the last government, the Conservative government, and I started to touch on this one during lockdown, they had, just before lockdown, come up with a policy. They were so worried about universities, Warwick University being one of them as well, all of the universities.
Oh, I know. I talked to my friends there. They told me about this. Yeah.
Right. Well, and so what the government did was to get foreign students, because they're the highest paying, and all the universities were very worried they were going to lose their fee structure.
Warwick has a very high foreign student population. I think the highest in the UK, by the way.
My youngest son did his master's degree there, actually, and got one of the highest in the country out of it, which
Very
is
nice.
good.
Very good.
Yes. Anyway, but what they did, though, was get foreign visitors in. And this was the Conservative government, and this government have done nothing to stop it yet. What they did was get them to come in and give them a guarantee that if they were in this country for 5 years, they could stay. And while they were here, they could bring all their family over. I kid you not.
Wow.
Check it out.
Wow,
So you have one, Mr. I don't know, whatever, turn up, study at university, do his 4-year course, then do a master's on his 5th year. After 5 years, and he's brought all his family over. They're all welcome to stay.
Yeah. Well, we should do another show on immigration, because I think, again, there's a lot we're going to agree on. I think I'm serious. We should reach out to Jeremy Clarkson and see if he's still got his farm. That's hilarious. Him becoming a farmer. Just saying. So that's kind of cool. But we'll see if we can get him.
He
and
really loves it as well.
Yeah, I know. And so, by the way, I'm a big fan of Doctor Who, the old Doctor Who, not the new Doctor Who. But I love Doctor Who in the old days.
Scarf Guy is my favorite.
Yeah. And then, of course, Don, you must have seen the series, because I'm a big Patrick McGowan fan, The Prisoner. The Prisoner, I think, was one of the best exports from England. So, but to conclude our conversation, because we're over time, but we appreciate Cousin Vinny and Don coming on.
Yes.
To conclude, apparently, if your political system was like ours, John Cleese would be prime minister. Is that a good summary of today's conversation?
Only if he, well,
because John Cleese is a pretty funny guy. So just say
I'd take Rowan Atkinson. How about that?
Rowan Atkinson, yeah.
Oh, Rowan Atkinson's a friend of mine, actually.
Oh, he's wonderful. I love him.
We
Mr.
love him
Bean.
here. Yeah, he's love him.
I sent him a little image of me up on the top of the Empire State Building just last week, and he was talking about his experience there as well. But he didn't go there during the snow. I did. It was an absolute blizzard when I went up there. But
you know what would be funny, Don, is one of my best friends is someone you probably know is you've seen the movie Airplane?
Yes.
Bob Hayes, the guy that plays the striker. Bob and I. So it'd be funny if we could get Rowan Atkinson, Bob Hayes, and us together. That would be a fun show, right, Chris?
Let's do it. Let's
That would
do
be
it.
fun. I would like that. We do that. That would be terrific. And maybe we pull in Jenny too if we can do that. So it'll be fun.
Absolutely. Well, I think that she will
That's
be
what I'm saying.
available.
Yeah.
That would be
All right,
fun.
well, we got to go. So we've
All right.
had a good day talking and learning about our
Dawn,
friend
talk.
British, and I feel like I'm back in 12th grade learning about civics in foreign lands. So it's great.
Yes.
Get to meet Professor Warwick at Warwick University.
What's that about?
Did you get to meet Professor Warwick at Warwick University?
No, I met Chris. One of my dear friends is a professor there. He's got a book. Hold on, let me get his book.
We'll get that. So he's pulling out a book right now for those who are listening on the audio side.
Yeah, one
This is the
second.
thing.
I'll get
We
his
have to
book. Hold
cover
on a
for that.
second.
We always have to cover for that dead air. By the way, you want to talk about censorship in Britain and censorship in the U.S. There's one guy in the world who has gotten past censorship, who has actually done everything right. You know, it's Peo, the guy who created the Smurfs, because he got past censorship on kids' cartoons by letting them say anything. You could say anything. Hey, go Smurf a tree or Smurf you. You just replace any word you shouldn't be saying with the word Smurf, or like, oh yeah, I Smurfed her, or let's go Smurf around. Boy, that guy Peo got past the censors.
All right.
Really
Well,
well.
come on now, Chris. The Smurfs are French. Why are you bringing the French up? My
Because
God,
they're great anti-censorship. They tell you to go
eating
Smurf a
surrender
tree.
monkeys. Did you see Macron
eating.
surrender to Trump yesterday in the White House? Like, I'm going to convince Trump. It's
Trump,
yeah,
basically,
never mind.
Trump Smurfed Macron, right? He Smurfed
That's
him.
right.
That's right.
So, all right. So my friend,
is that Chris Moran's book?
Yes,
It is, right.
Chris Moran.
Yes.
Yeah. So Chris Moran is my friend. Dr. Chris Moran wrote this book. I'm in it.
Wow.
I did one of the blurbs. I did a blurb for it. No, I did.
Tony's been
There's
holding
my
out on
blurb
us.
for it. Put it back up, Chris. Put up the close up again so we can see my blurb. Don't disrespect my words. Put my close up there. There we go. There we go. See, there's my blurb. There's my blurb for it. So anyway, so my point being is that yes, Dr. Moran is a professor. Shout out Chris at Warwick. Yeah, and so that's he did this book, and we were there. I got invited there because we're spies. I'm a spy, and he wrote a book about spies. So that's why.
This is interesting stuff. This is a whole CIA secrets book that he wrote, of course.
Oh yeah, it's a great book. It's a good book. I recommend it.
Yeah, but has it yet been adapted for Hollywood? I mean, is anything like that afoot?
Well, you should, Don. Have you read my book, Operation Dark Heart? You know they sell it in England. It was a bestseller in England too, back about 10 years ago.
No, I didn't know about it. Send me a copy.
We're gonna have to do that now. See, there we go.
Warm where you are, Tony, because
I'm going running. These are my running shorts. So
it's freezing here.
It's 60 degrees here. Yeah. So Operation Dark Heart. This is the British version of my book. This is actually sold in the UK. Operation Dark Heart. That's not me, by the way. That's Eric Swalwell when he was in combat. Anyway,
it wasn't Tim Walls.
Tim Walls was never in combat.
Well,
anyway, my point, Don, is that my book actually I got royalty checks from England and British sterling. They actually sent me sterling, like sterling, like silver stuff. No, they didn't.
Wow.
I didn't make money off of it.
So have you turned that into an audiobook yet?
No, but we should. It would be fun.
Brian Stelter's going to read it.
It would be fun.
No, I don't want it. No. Better yet, we have to have Mark Dice do the Brian Stelter voice reading it.
Oh, no.
Like this.
No, thanks. No, thanks.
No, but you should do one. It's you should turn it into an audiobook.
We should talk about it. Yeah, it'd be fun.
We could do,
no,
yes,
it opens the book. My book opens with me on an air assault with the Rangers, and I'm trained to hang out at hotels, seduce women, and go skinny dipping with FBI agents, female FBI agents, after the party. But that's another story.
Yeah.
That's another story. So.
Double O Tony.
My old days. I know. I told people here before I ran for office, like, I'm a retired spy and I did everything spies do, right? You do understand that. Oh yeah, we don't care. It's like, okay. Anyway, I digress. It's been a great show. Don, thank you. We should get back together again. We appreciate you being here. Vinny, God bless you.
Yes, Dawn. Thank you, everybody. Nice meeting you, Dawn.
I'll let you know when I'm coming up. I'll let you know when I'm coming up in May to see the Jersey boys.
Yes.
Homeland Security guys will get together. So, and Chris,
Yes,
thank
let me
God
know, man.
You again avoided being on the Santa Monica Pier drunk and falling over like Ed McMahon. So
The week is still young. By the way, don't forget tomorrow it's Trixie, it's Sean and George taking the next couple days, and we'll be back on Monday with Eden Gordon Hill, and we got some cool guests coming up as well.
Excellent.
Other cool guests.
Been a delight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, pleasure.
Well, and so Chris and I will see you next Monday, right? We're back on Monday.
Yes, we are.
All
I
right.
think so. If
Until
I'm not
then-
hungover.
That's right. Stay off the beach. All right. Well, until then, we'll see.